Ready?
Ready.
Hey everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Snitchin'. It's your host, Kristen.
And Brittany, get ready for the best part of your day.
It's Wednesday. You know what that means. We have another great guest episode for you. We have on with us Danielle, who has ran over 40 marathons.
That is crazy.
Truly so impressive. I don't think Brittany and I know nothing about marathon running. So we have her on to talk all things marathon training, tips, tricks, all of the good stuff. Welcome to the pod, Danielle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're so excited about this one. And a little background about how we met. It was actually through our friend, you guys know her, you love her, Mish. She's been on the pod. And we all went out to dinner. I don't know, what was that, like a year ago?
It was almost a year ago. Yeah, last year.
That's crazy. You are friends with Mish's sister, Amy. We talked about the pod, and lo and behold, a year later, here we are.
You shared the pod then, and I remember you asking my daughters about their favorite Taylor Swift songs. So now I understand why you asked them that question.
Very on brand. Very on brand.
Yeah, that tracks.
How old are your daughters?
So I have a 4 and a 7-year-old.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. I have a 5 and a 2.5-year-old boy. So I'm a little behind you.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're definitely a little bit older now and a little bit more mature.
I'm looking forward to that stage when they can get their own juice.
Yes.
That'll be huge.
Oh my
And
gosh.
able to answer questions of their favorite Taylor Swift songs as well.
Yes. Yes.
What is your favorite thing about their ages right now?
I feel like they're definitely coming into their own personalities. My older one is figuring out things that she likes to do. Like, for instance, she said, I don't want to play soccer. And then she played soccer with some boys at school and said, I want to play soccer now. And so she's playing soccer. They're doing different sports and activities. And then my 4-year-old, I would say she's kind of has this funny personality, quirky, and she's definitely starting to become more of I say a little human,
Mm,
able to have conversations with them and do activities with them.
Britt, you have that to look forward to.
I know. I know. I love watching them become a little human. I feel like anytime someone's like, what's your favorite age been? Besides when they were a baby and couldn't walk, that 8 month to whenever they were able to walk, that was the best. But I'm always I feel like now, they just keep getting better. They keep becoming their own little personalities shine through, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like you get a little bit you're oh, this age is so fun. They're starting to talk to me. Oh, this
Yeah.
age is so fun. They'll go on a bike ride with me. And so there's so many different things now that as they're getting older, they're able to do and say they want to do.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I think let's get into it. We have the
Yeah.
Boston Marathon right around the corner, and hopefully there's a lot of other people listening to this, maybe while they're training, fingers crossed, while they're going on their runs. So, Danielle, we want to start with what was the moment that you decided to run your first marathon? What convinced you to actually sign up?
So in high school, I used to just be on different sports, soccer, basketball, track. I never really ran long distance in high school, but my senior year, they said, hey, you should run the mile and the 2 mile. We need some points on our team. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just run it. And one of the coaches said, you're going to be a marathon runner. And I was like, heck no, I'm never running that far. 1 mile, 2 miles feels very far. And then in college, I went to a big school, Wisconsin, and
Oh, cool.
sport, but just to keep myself busy and mentally there. And then one of my high school friends was running the Miami, Florida marathon. And it was our sophomore year in January. And so I was like, well, if she's running, I can run a marathon. So I trained my sophomore year of college to run the Miami, Florida marathon. And I thought it would just be one and done.
But you just fell in
Wow.
love.
Yeah. So, I mean, that marathon, I feel like looking back at it, there were so many things it was kind of before you would carry a cell phone running. So I would take pieces of paper in my pocket with my parents' cell phone number and I would hand it to people as I was running to tell them where I was along the course.
Oh
Oh
my
my gosh.
While I
gosh.
had passed. And now, of course, people carry cell phones, video camera, whatever. But yeah, that was my first one. And then I actually ran pretty quickly and I was like, oh, I'm close to time for this Boston Marathon. And at the time I was living in Wisconsin, so it felt very far away and just my brother actually was living in Boston at the time. So I was like, let me run Chicago. So I ran, and Wisconsin's close to Chicago. So
Mhm.
I ran the Chicago Marathon that same year in 2006, and I qualified for Boston. So that's kind of
Oh,
where it
Wow.
started. So,
that's awesome. So
Good for
40,
you.
so if you've done 40 marathons, like how many is that a year?
so
At
I
least two?
ran, it was at least two. So I ran 29 marathons before I had kids. And I said, I'm never going to
Wow.
run a marathon again. I'm done. I'm going to have these kids. I'm not going to run it again. We were actually living in Atlanta, which is where I met Amy, Michelle's sister. We actually met at a running group in Atlanta. That's how we became friends.
Oh.
And I ran like some halves and everything down when I was living down there for 10 years. And then we decided to move back up here 4 years ago. And I was like, if I'm moving back to Boston, I have got to run the Boston Marathon. I can't be a spectator. So I ran a race in Hingham where you run 6 loops around a park, and I barely trained and I qualified. And so now I'm back running marathons again.
Wow.
I was running like 2 or 3 a year. So I hit 29 before I had kids. And then last year, my husband was like, you're turning 40. I turned 40 in September. And he was like, you're really close to 40. But I actually had to I ran 5 marathons last year to get to 40,
Whoa.
which
My
was the
goodness.
most I've ever done.
Okay, so many thoughts. First off, isn't it funny how like a high school teacher can or coach can say something that like sticks with you and he was dead on about your running ability? Like it sounds like you are just really gifted in running to be able to qualify on your second marathon. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, and the qualifications, of course, back then were a little like a tiny bit easier than they are now. They made it a little bit harder over the time that I've been running, just because more people are so interested in the Boston Marathon,
Yeah.
um, and trying to. It's just like it's a stretch to get to, so people are very excited and want to get that Boston qualifying. So I actually had run 10 Boston marathons in a row, and then I stopped when I had the kids. So this will be my fourth back.
Good for you. That's really amazing. What was the last year of doing five in a year? Like what was that like?
It was a lot on my body. The 4 that I did in the springtime, I did fine. I wasn't hurt, or I did one in Connecticut. I did the Boston Marathon. I did the Flying Pig in Cincinnati, which is where I'm from. So I got to go home for that race. And then I ran to get my one more before my 40th. I ran this race in Rhode Island where it was on a Tuesday morning, and I ran 16 laps back and forth on this course. We went down a hill, up a hill,
Oh
16.
my God.
And so then that was that was my 39, because I wanted to keep all those away from my 40th to make my 40th special and not be injured or.
Tired. Yeah. Wow. Impressive.
So, of all of those races, which ones, like, what are our favorites, least favorites? And if you could redo one, is there one that you would do again?
So of course, Boston's my favorite because it feels like my
Nice.
hometown race now that I've lived for so long. People always ask me because I've done the majors, the New York, Boston, London, Chicago, Tokyo, Berlin. People always ask me which one's my favorite, and I always say Boston because it's my hometown. And I just love that the city shuts down for the marathon. The different towns have so much personality. You go through Hopkinton really quickly. You get to Ashland. The first thing in Ashland, there's that bar where people are sitting up on the roof drinking.
Mhm.
You're like, it's so early. And it's just seeing all the different towns and the kids coming out. And it just like the city stops for the race. I've done New York, which I love as well, but like it just so happens to be a marathon happening down the street. People are still living their lives in New York. Everybody's
Mm.
coming to watch the race. So I would say Boston's definitely my favorite. It's the one I've done the most. I mean, there's been other fun ones I've done. Like, of course, Miami, Florida was fun because you're in Miami. And I actually did one. We were living in Hong Kong for 7 months after we got married, my husband and I did the
Wow.
Hong Kong marathon. So that was actually my first international one. Those
Wow.
were some of my favorites. And then if I was probably to redo one, I would probably redo Berlin or Tokyo, which I did both last year. So I would say that I would redo those because they're such different experiences and I want to like relive them. Both of those races were really hot. I happened to get really hot days, so they were pretty torturous in terms of
Yeah.
running. The one in Tokyo was really hot and it was very sleep deprived. So I would love to redo that one just to like experience it again. And the one in Berlin was my 40th, and it also was hot. And I was really trying to get my PR in the marathon. And actually, 2 weeks before the race, I started to have hip pain and back spasms. So I was very nervous if I could even run my 40th. After I
Oh,
had done all those in the spring and felt completely fine, the
oh
one
my God.
itself, I was hurt. I didn't end up PRing in Berlin, but I still qualified for Boston, which was my second goal.
Nice. That's hard.
I feel like from someone on the outside in the non-running community, like I was in London last year for the London Marathon. My sister and I, we were watching. It's so emotional. Like
Yeah.
we were at the end. I'm crying, trying to cheer people on, especially when you see people starting to slow down and then they like, run again and you feel like you've helped them with your cheers and things like that.
Mhm.
I feel like there's like envy. Do you feel like this, Britt? From not, I always like want to be able to do it
Oh,
because it
yeah.
feels like there's such a community. Like even you meeting Amy at a run club, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. You would appreciate I went to BC, which is like right on the route at the
Oh, yeah.
top of Heartbreak Hill. And Marathon Monday was like Christmas for the students. It was like the best. We would start drinking at 7 a.m. People would get like shirts, and it was just like, yeah, it was literally Christmas for college students.
I actually love that part of the Boston course because you do get up the hill, and I would say most people are pretty like cashed at that point. They're like have
Mm,
done all these hills. They're like, I just got to get back to the finish line. And I think that's like one of the biggest like hype zones is like
yeah.
BC is like they're all like super drunk and just like pumping up and like I actually try to like get the crowd going more because it like hypes you up. So
Yeah.
I do love that area.
Yeah.
they're doing a different type of marathon over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Quite
London was
different.
actually really fun as well. I did that 2 years ago. I did Boston and then 6 days later ran London,
Oh my God.
which was the
Wow.
closest I've ever done, but I wanted to get London checked off. And amount of costumes at the London Marathon and people trying to get Guinness World Records of running with like a refrigerator on their back or whatever
What?
crazy things they were doing. All I said to my husband was, I just can't let anyone in a costume beat me.
That's crazy. That's so random.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest races. It's over like 50,000 people.
It was really cool to be there. And like, yeah, I mean, that's another, I guess, like plus of being a marathon runner is getting to see all these amazing places.
Yeah.
Like you've been all over the world.
I never thought I was going to do the international ones. And then when I got into London, I was like, okay, I guess I'm checking off these three big international ones. So yeah, I did London and then last year I did Tokyo and I actually brought my kids with me to Tokyo, which was super fun for
Awesome.
them and definitely an experience that we'll all remember. But yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
it's fun to get to just see different cities and countries. And usually when I go travel, I'll run as like outside versus go on a treadmill at one of these places just so I can like explore where I am.
Yeah, I feel like running outside is just a lot better in general than
Oh
running on the
yeah.
treadmill, at least like for me, I feel like, and I have to imagine for a lot of runners. But
Yeah.
okay, so talking about when you are 2 weeks before the 40th and you're starting to get your hip pain, but just like in general, like of all those 40 races, there must have been one where, or maybe not, but did you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I am not going to finish this one? And then you did. Like, how do you push through those moments where you're in physical pain? Because
Mm.
I mean, that just, yeah, it's just to me, it feels like such a mental mountain. So how do you get through that?
I would say most of them, you get to like mile 21, 22, you're like counting down the like seconds. You're like, okay, I've done this 4 miles before. I think I can do it. And but you've been running for 2.5, 3 hours. I think a lot of them, it's all mental. Like it's physical and it has that mental piece because you've been running for so long, you're kind of in this other zone. A lot of them I've been like, I don't want to finish, but you have to finish because your race. I always see this. I see a lot of signs during races, and one of them that always sticks in my mind is like pain is temporary, Strava results are forever because you're gotta finish to get any results. So
Right.
I think a lot of it is mental. You get to like 18, you're like, I've done this long run, but now I have to go do 8 more miles. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of them that you want to quit, but you have to keep pushing through.
And those are like, I mean, I like the idea that a sign or a message someone sent could like still resonate. Like pain is temporary. It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one and like pain is temporary, pride is forever. And then you just like keep repeating in your head.
Do
What will
you
get you to the finish line?
When you run the marathons, do you listen to music or do you like to listen to the crowd? I feel like I've heard that's like a debate.
It is a big debate. So I bring my music. I have headphones that kind of just go around my ears, the Shocks headphones, so I can hear crowds. I'm kind of a little crazy, but I use the music as a prize to how far I've gotten. So like,
Mm,
okay, if I can get to the halfway mark, I'll put on the music. Well,
hmm
if I get to the halfway, I'll say, oh, if I get to 20 miles, I'll put the music on. Because the do help you so much that I'd rather have the crowds get me going.
Yeah.
And then I will listen to music. But people are like, you're crazy that you have them there, have the music there, but you won't listen to it. But I'm like, it's a prize. I've gotten to the next level of how far along I've gotten. So
Yeah. Keeps you
during
going.
races, I'll listen to music. But when I do training runs, I listen to podcasts because I feel like it kind of zones me into the run versus go faster.
Hmm
Like makes me go faster. So yeah, I listen to running podcasts. And as I was saying earlier, I listen to your podcast and I can get a few episodes in during some of my long runs.
Love
No,
it.
I mean, we've said this like before we started recording, but Danielle told us that she listens to Snitchin on her runs, and me and Brittany, like that day, we literally were like, yes, we were so
Yeah.
happy that you said that. So
Well, and then it'll be like, ready, ready. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
that's funny. Um, do you have, well, I mean, I have to imagine like after I don't even, I mean, after 10 marathons, after 20, like, are your reasons for running different now than when you started? Like, what
Mm,
do you set new goals for yourself? How do you kind of keep yourself? It sounds like you do because you said, obviously getting to 40 was a big one, doing a PR, but like, how do you kind of keep it, like, set new goals?
So I feel like at the beginning, it was kind of like, can I do it?
mhm.
And that type of goal was like, can I finish these races? And so that was kind of like at the beginning, before kids, before this new life I have, where running, you have to get in quicker. So I would say those were kind of the beginning was like, can I finish this? And then as I've like gotten older and had kids, it's like I want to show them it's like a little bit of balance
Yeah.
in my life. Like I need the mental clarity of going out and running. And it's like setting an example for my daughters and being like, I always say like, you can do whatever you want. And so I feel like running's my way of showing them like my goals and how I can train. They know I go out running a lot. So they're like, they get excited because they're like, oh, the marathon's coming up and they get to watch that. So I think that kind of at the beginning, it was more of, can I do it? And now it's like balance, mental stability, and setting and like an example for people and my kids.
I love that. So meaningful.
Um, Yeah, and I feel like I had the goal of like at first I was trying to hit 30 by the time I had kids and I actually miscounted and it was only 29. So then the 40th was definitely a big goal and I feel like my next goal is to PR. I'm pretty close to that number. And I feel like once I PR, I just will always kind of run Boston until I can't run Boston just because I like it so much.
Can we
So you're
ask
not,
what your PR is?
So my PR is 3 hours and 20 minutes and 0 seconds.
Girl.
oh, so how much is a mile is that?
It's like
Oh
7:38
shit.
or something.
Wow. 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 I can't get below 10.
I did that. So the year I was supposed to run New York in 2012, the year Hurricane Sandy happened. I was living here and I drove down to New York with my husband. We were just dating at the time, and it was actually our parents were going to be meeting for the first time at the race because
Oh.
his parents live in New York and mine live in Ohio. And so we were on our way to the race and it got canceled as we were driving into the city. So we still let our parents meet. But since that race was canceled, I was like, I already trained. So I was like, what's a race that's so close to this one? Because I can't let myself like taper.
Yeah.
So I found Richmond, Virginia Marathon was the following week. And that's where I actually PR'd. So I must
Oh
have
wow.
had like this, like I gotta run and get fast because I didn't get to run New York. So that was my PR, and that was in 2012. And last year, I ran those 5 races back in the springtime, and I ran 3:23, 3:24, 3:25, 3:26. And then Berlin was 3:24. So I'm very close. I'm
Oh
like
my gosh.
minutes off. And so I feel like I'm close enough that whether it's Boston or Chicago, I'm running Chicago this fall, and that's a flat course. And I haven't
Mhm.
run that in like over 10 years. So I feel like between one of these, it will happen. And then I won't try to push myself as hard because I am getting older, but I just still want to be able to run longer. So
Oh my God.
Crazy.
I'm about to go run outside. I swear.
Seriously.
Literally, I'm like, where are my sneakers?
like it's funny because I've done all these races and like I'm not a runner that's out there like wearing my Boston Marathon jacket every day. So people always are like, wait, you run races? And I'll be like, yeah, I ran 40 marathons. And they don't even realize I'm not one of those blasting that I run. So it's funny to talk about it this much because I don't on a day-to-day talk about it like this.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like it's hard running Boston in the spring? I feel like I've always been like, oh, your training must be in like February, right?
Mm.
You actually start, some people start, like I started in December, which
Oh,
so you really get the torture part of the year. I mean, this year was really hard with the two blizzards.
yeah. It's
Um, I
cold.
tried to run outside as much as I could. I mean, we do have a treadmill now in our house, so I will run, but I really would prefer to be frozen outside than
Yeah.
a treadmill. I have a lot of gear to wear, but yes, it was definitely a very cold training cycle. And I always say that when it's a really cold training cycle, it's a really warm Boston day. So I'm hoping that I'm
Mm,
wrong. But yes, it's weird because you train through some of the worst conditions like snow, sleet. Yesterday I ran and it was snowing again. And so usually the race is like it could be really hot, which is crazy because you've been training in these freezing
yeah.
temperatures. So I would say it's one of the hardest because spring marathons are hard because you train through winters.
Yeah. But then Chicago would kind of be the opposite because you're training the summer. I don't know
Yes.
what's
Then you
worse.
have then you have the summer. Yeah. So when I did Berlin, I was training all summer and it was some of the hottest days.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'd
So
rather be
I think
cold, I
I'd
think.
rather be cold. Yeah.
I didn't really think about that, but that's a really good point. But it's almost like if you get a nice spring day, like ideally, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
a great payoff.
Yeah. No, it'd be nice to have a perfect day. I mean, what's like last year or 2 years ago, it was really hot for Boston and it was beautiful for spectators, which I also like enjoy because then I'm like more spectators will come out and watch.
Hmm.
Right.
But yes, 50s would be perfect with no sunshine.
Yeah.
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 Come on, weather gods. We earned
No
it. We
rain.
deserve this after
Yeah.
this year. I actually was just with someone this weekend. She's running Boston. It's her first marathon. And, just talking about she had her long run and just like wasn't as great. She had some pain, whatever. Her coach basically was like, don't push it. But I think she was just, kind of having that like, oh, I hope I can do this. A little bit of that self-doubt, which obviously must come for first-time marathon runners. So do you have any tips or just, like, yeah, tips for first time marathon runners or pieces of advice that you would give?
Mm.
I would say that a big thing is people go out very fast for their first
Mm.
marathon. I think Boston also people go out very fast because it's straight downhill to start. So I think that you just have to remember that it's a lot of miles. And so if you go out so fast, you're going to crash at the end. It's better to start slow and go faster as you feel better. I think as a first time marathoner, especially if Boston's going to be your first, take it all in. There's people that would love to be running the Boston Marathon
Mm.
and can't get in. So I think just taking in the crowds, making sure that you're getting all the nutrition that you need. Don't skip on that, even if you don't feel like you need it. I used to do that a lot, and I realized that it's better to be have more nutrition and do it earlier. So now I take it every 30 minutes. I take a gel on the 30 minutes, every 30 minutes on demand. So I think just taking in the crowds and understanding that you're doing something that most people would love to do. And it doesn't matter your time on your first race, it's that you get to finish it and you get your medal and you get to go over that. When you turn on Boylston, when you come down, you go under this underpass, you turn left on Hereford, right on Boylston, and you can see the finish line at the end. It's pretty far down there, but you see it. And just like the emotions of like, oh my God, I'm about to do this is so crazy.
Yeah. I love standing there and watching. It's like the best to stand at the finish line.
Yes, I always, when I see the finish line, you get like goosebumps that you're like about to do this. And then some people cry, some people like are laughing. It's just like you're so excited. I usually have a pretty big smile as I see
Yeah.
it. So yeah, taking it all in, taking in the crowds, high-fiving the little kids, um, reading signs, all those fun things.
Oh, your daughters must love watching you.
Yes, they go to three different spots at Boston that they've been to. My parents have those same spots they've been going to for all of them, but somehow they always get lost when they get to Newton for some reason. Um,
Yeah.
even though
It's
it's
like
a
a classic
fantastic
parent
club.
move.
But yeah, no, they love when I come. I mean, I used to when I would see my parents, I would like high five and keep going, and now I'll like stop for a second, give them all a kiss, a hug, a picture, because they've been waiting there for an hour, and I can give them 5 seconds of my time.
Yeah, but you have that PR.
Yeah, I gotta get
I know, and we're like 2 minutes away. See, I feel like if Bernie and I were there, we'd be like, Danielle, go.
Yeah.
my husband, one of the first times that he had met my parents was he watched the Boston Marathon with them, and he had a banana costume. And so he wore the banana costume, like hanging out with my parents. And the reason that he was wearing the banana costume is that my parents actually, since the beginning, they hold up a blow up banana so that they'll hold it up so that when I'm running, I can see them in the distance. And then I know that I'm about to be to them. So then I can get ready to find them. There's
Smart,
so many
smart.
people. So we call them the banana cheerleaders.
So cute.
Yeah, that's a cute tradition.
Okay, last couple of marathon questions. Piece of gear that you swear by that you would definitely recommend.
I mean, like most of my gear, I would say. So I would say a few things. I think a pair of shorts or pants, whatever pants you're wearing, slash underwear, because you're moving so much with your lower body. So I think that having those items so that you're not chafe and just like feel comfortable. I have a pair of shorts that I can fit my cell phone in so I can like have easy
Mhm.
access to it to whether change music or just have it nearby. I would say those, and then just the right pair of shoes because your feet are running all those 26 miles. I wear a pair of New Balance. They're called SC Elites, and I only wear them when I run races because they're very light, but they're carbon plated, and you just can't wear them for many miles because they're not enough support for your feet. So I think making sure that you have the right shoes and also not trying anything new on race day. I know that's a piece of
Mm,
advice I always had. Don't buy a new shirt, don't wash it, and then put it on. Try out everything that you're wearing ahead of time, running it a few miles. I even like know what I'm going to wear and I'll wear it a few days before, try it out again just to make sure that I don't have like random chafing or
yeah.
uncomfortableness somewhere. So, yeah, I think definitely having good shoes, gear, and making sure you try it out ahead of time.
Well,
That's a really good tip. I would be so frustrated if I was distracted on race day because of like
yeah.
a new shirt that was just rubbing me the wrong way.
Making sure your
Yeah.
shoes are tied twice so that you don't have to worry about an untied shoe.
Oh, yeah. You must be buying sneakers like 4 times a year.
Yeah, I buy a lot of sneakers. I try to actually go to luckily we live near New Balance, so I go to the New Balance outlets a lot and try to find my
Oh,
shoes.
Oh,
nice.
That's where I can sometimes find deals on nicer shoes.
Smart. That's a good tip.
yeah. I've heard New Balance is a good brand. I've like a couple of runners have told me that. Okay. What would you say like running has like how has it changed just your everyday life? Or, how does it help you face like any challenges? But like how has it translated into your personal life, I guess, to sum that up.
Yeah, so I would say that it helps me like with my mental stability every day. It's kind of like I have to run or be physical every single day just kind of to keep me sane. Even my rest days, I'll like stretch, and that feels like
Mm,
doing something. I think it helps me with my like sanity with my family, work life. It just kind of keeps me balanced, and it's just part of my life, I would say.
I'm inspired. I swear, I'm inspired. Like I think we need Brittany, do we need to sign up for a 5K?
seriously, I'm about to go run outside.
No, girl. Like, oh
Probably
my
make it like 10
word.
steps. Like, I'm a walker. I'm a walker.
It's a lot of mental. Sometimes I'm like, how am I going to run 6 miles today? And then you're like, mile 4, you're like, okay, I actually only have 2 to go. So
Yeah.
definitely some sanity stuff.
So, how many times a week do you run?
So I was running maybe like 6 days a week. Now it's 5, I would say. Last year before Berlin, I did get a running coach after all these races, just because I wanted to hit a PR and I was so close all these times. I was like, what am I doing different that I need to try something different and just like somebody telling me what to do, which was different because I had run 39 marathons and never had a person tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I do run 5 days a week with her.
how she changed her running.
So like I do on Tuesdays, as one of my friends will say, it's torture Tuesdays because it's a workout day and I never used to do this. So like some days I would do like 12 or 13 miles on a Tuesday with a workout in the middle of it. I would never do that before. I would just run 5 miles like every day, five, 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 and then do one long run a weekend,
Hmm.
and maybe run the next day. So now I have a few like aerobic runs during the week, and then that Tuesday is a workout, and then my long runs on Saturdays typically. And she's had me do things like I used to taper a lot earlier, and so now like she had me run actually 18 last weekend, which in the past I would only run like 12 that weekend. So something she's like, it's better to not taper as quickly as you probably used to before. So
Hmm.
just like adding strength workouts and making sure when I was hurt that I'm taking care of myself and somebody's watching.
Yeah,
So,
that's huge.
Kind of interesting that like as someone so with so much experience, like you can still, learn something new from working with someone new. That's
yeah,
cool.
I used to just
Yeah.
follow a plan where I would see, okay, these are my long runs for the weekend and just like mark them off. But even now, some of my long runs will have like a workout in the middle of it. It'll be like run 4 tempo miles and then 4 aerobic and then 3 tempo. So like you do sometimes do workouts even in the long runs, which I had never done before.
So when you say workout, do you mean like strength training, like lifting
No, no. So
weights?
I would say like tempo, so faster miles. Like
Okay.
it would be like run on a Tuesday, I ran 2 mile warm up, 5 miles at a tempo pace,
Damn.
4 minutes of rest, which rest, like standing still felt very weird to do when I'm like lifting up, and then run 5 miles again at that pace, and
Wow.
then 2 miles of cool down. So that's
Oh,
kind of,
that makes sense. Yeah.
but I never used to do any of that.
Wow.
What's a tempo pace?
Like 7, 10.
Damn.
Um,
Impressive.
Yesterday I did this workout in the snow and it was 2 mile warm up. And then it was repeat 1Ks, which 1K, I'm like, oh, that shouldn't be that far because it's less than a mile. So it's 0.62. So I did 5 times where I had to do 1 kilometer at 6:55 to 7:05 pace, and then 1 kilometer at 7:15 to 25 and go back and forth. So I did that 5 times. So really after that fast pace, I thought I would get to slow down. Like
Yeah.
well, you don't really slow down, you're still going pretty fast. So that was really hard.
Yeah. Talk about a mental challenge.
I never, and went into it and I said, how am I ever going to go that fast? And then when I finished the workout, I'm like, oh, I did it. Make yourself do it. So
Yeah. What a nice sense of accomplishment. Do you do like morning, afternoon?
I try to go in the morning. Usually, if I get to the afternoon, I'm like, I
Yeah.
with kids. I'll either try to go before they wake up or I'll say to my husband, like, I got to go do these miles. Sometimes I can do like a workout before work. Try to do mornings. I'd like to like do that, shower, start my day.
Yeah. What a great way to like start your day. Yeah.
yeah, and like feeling like you already have a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Does your husband run with you?
no, his joke is that we have run 40 marathons together and she's run.
That's cute.
He's a good cheerleader. He's watched a lot of my races.
And he's out there with the banana cheerleaders.
Yeah, he's part of the banana group.
Well, I mean, like again, I hope everyone listening has some inspiration to at least, even if it's not a marathon, go like tackle a new goal because I definitely feel like
Yeah.
that's how I'm walking into this Wednesday. But Danielle is not only a 40 plus marathon runner, PR 320. Let's see it. Let's go. You're also, as we said, a mother of two. You're a realtor, a speech therapist, and you teach, is it
Damn.
pronounced Mahjong? Mahjong?
Mahjong, yeah.
Girl.
Yeah. I want to hear more about this.
How,
So
yeah.
I went to grad school for speech therapy. So that was my career. And then when I moved back to Boston, I got my real estate license and have become a realtor with Compass. And then when I was living in Atlanta, I learned how to play Mahjong during COVID. And a big group of us wanted to learn. My little joke is that in Atlanta, there really wasn't COVID. So we got out and played Mahjong a lot. I had little kids at the time. So it was just kind of a way to get together with friends, do something social. And so when I was living down there, I started to teach a few people. And then I moved back up here 4 years ago and I started teaching people. And one of my friends that I learned with in Atlanta, she became a teacher down there. And I was like, well, I want to do it up here. Like, I feel like there's no one playing, no young people playing Mahjong around here. And so got, I did like a little training, but I had already been playing. So a big part of being a teacher is you have to play too. You can't just be like, I want to become a teacher. You need to like have experience playing. So I became a teacher. My husband helped me make up a website,
Oh my gosh.
Instagram. We came up with my name is Maj Master, Mass for Massachusetts
Oh,
Master.
cute,
So
cute, cute.
we came up with that wicked good mahjong. And so I've been teaching for like over 3 years here of people from Marblehead, down in the South Shore, the city. I teach private events, people's
Wow.
houses. I've been teaching at PKL and Bossy at different
Oh
pickleball places. We've been hosting events. So yeah, I've been teaching. It's a lot of nighttime work. So people want to do it after work. They want to learn. So I've been teaching, I would say like this week I'm teaching 3 nights in a row. Next week I'm teaching 4 nights in a row. So it
my
is a lot of
gosh.
nights. I do miss out on a lot of bedtimes, which yes, it's nice to miss out on bedtime, but I do wish I could put my kids to bed a little bit more and be with them at night. But I've been teaching. I've taught probably over 1,000 people in the past few years.
Wow.
I think that I said to the group in Marblehead, I said, it's coming here. Like there's this Mahjong craze. It's coming. It's in the South right now. And then 2 years ago, I taught a group in Needham and I told them the same thing. But like, it still wasn't there was only a few teachers in all of Boston. And I was teaching. So yeah, so I've been teaching all over. It's very busy. It's become very popular. I don't think it's hit its peak yet of everybody having learned. I think it's going to be a while, but I think people are going to keep playing for years and years, whether they play with their friends, they go to different bars and restaurants that have Mahjong. But yeah, there's a huge craze about it right now.
I
So
definitely feel like I've heard like Mish plays. She was playing with people on Tuesday. I feel like it's definitely become more popular. For those who don't know, quick
Hmm. I was
sound
gonna ask this.
bite. Yeah, like why would we want to play the game?
So first off, if you don't know what Mahjong is, it's a tile-based game where you're trying to make patterns with your tiles to make a hand of 14 tiles. You're playing it, it's typically a four-person game. So people like to play it because it's about a little bit of strategy, a little bit of luck. It challenges your minds so that when you are with your friends, you can still eat and drink and chat, but you're still like keeping your mind busy.
Mm,
People like that part of it as well, is it challenges you, but it's fun and it becomes addictive and
yeah, good for your brain.
yeah.
Love it.
Very
I
cool.
I would definitely be down. I mean, I love games in general, and like I wake up, my first thing I do is I'm wordling, like New
I
York
forgot
Times
about that.
connections. Got it in four today, you know.
Nice job.
Thank you. And so yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. But
You
I'm
can play online too. So once you learn, you can play the app. So you'll
Is it
become.
hard to learn? Like, how long does it take to learn?
So I would say that the first lesson is very overwhelming. Come in with an open mind because you're going to learn a lot of rules and directions. I did a group in Charlestown last night and they were like about to start drinking. I was like, you might not want to drink too much. We're about to learn a lot of stuff right now. And I saw a cute meme recently where people are like, I thought I was just going to girls' night and having a few cocktails. I didn't know I had to like actually like sit here and study. So I think at the beginning it takes a few like lessons, you have to keep playing. It's a game because you're playing with a card that has the different hands that you are guided to have to choose one of those hands. And I think that's the hardest part is like the little finicky rules. You have to keep playing to remember those, and then just learning how this card works to help figure out what hands you are trying to build. Usually after the first lesson, people are like, what did I just learn? Like, I need to follow up to practice because once you learn all the rules, you learn the tiles, you learn the card, you play a game, you need to keep playing the games because that's how you get better at it.
Yeah, interesting.
well, if anyone is interested and is in the
Oh,
area, where can they find you again on Instagram?
So my Instagram is Mahj underscore master, Masster.
We're definitely gonna plug it on our social. Danielle, thank you so much for coming on. This was a really awesome episode. You are like super impressive
oh my
and
God, I know. You're like Superwoman here. So
Yeah.
inspiring.
Thank you
We
guys.
we're ready to, no pun intended, go like run through a brick wall. And we hope good luck at the marathon in a couple weeks and at Chicago. We hope you get that PR. Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for today. We will be back on Friday with a regularly scheduled program.
Make sure to like us, follow us, comment at us at snitchinpod on TikTok and Instagram. Go to our website, snitchinpodcast.com, and tell everyone you know about us.
Thanks again, Danielle.
Yeah, thanks, Danielle.
Bye.
Bye.